This is Twit.
So the way HDMI works is that the guys who work on the spec always try to make sure that things are backward compatible. So HDMI 1.4 adds on beyond the features of HDMI 1.3. So the key features are 3D support, upping the link from 148 megahertz pixel clock to 297, if you will. So that you can support 4K 24. So 4K 24 being 24 frames per second for film especially. So or 4K 25, 4K 30. So so that's HDMI 1.4, and then there's a need for higher bandwidth to try and bring out 4K 60 at RGB rate. So that's what people are working on right now, and a few other standards, but other features. But primarily, most people are looking towards increasing the bandwidth for 2.0. So they just keep adding features. HDMI has also grown in terms of its membership, in terms of how they define the spec. Sometime last year, I believe, or sometime last year, there was what's called an HDMI forum where more people were involved in defining the spec. So it's evolving, but it's always considering backward compatibility to make sure users are not affected by it.
Now, I understand that HDMI continues to add features, and now with 2.0, they've increased the bandwidth, clock speed, and the amount of data that can flow down the pipe. But I've heard a lot of people say that even HDMI 2.0 might not be enough for this new Ultra HD, or what some people mistakenly call 4K, especially if we increase the bit depth of each color. Right now we're at 8-bit color, and a lot of people would like to go to 10 or 12 or more bits per color. A wider color gamut, higher frame rates, greater dynamic range, which is what the bit depth is. And a lot of people are claiming that HDMI 2.0 is already being challenged by what that might become.
I've heard that too. I've spoken to a few people as well at the CEDIA trade show about needing something more. As a systems maker, we try to essentially follow the formats, and the only thing I can say is that in consumer electronics, especially for example like Blu-ray, 8-bit has always been used, and at a very low sampling rate 420, and at some point in HDMI's evolution, there's a bit deep color for more bit depth, and with 4K 60, it's true that HDMI is limited to 8-bit for 444 RGB, for example, or 444 component. But in general, I think the expectation of HDMI 2.0 is that you can get a plenty good picture quality at 4K 60 with RGB 444. And if you need to, you can always use higher bit depth with component and subsampling the chroma, which is what is typically used in consumer. So I do agree that in some applications, maybe like if you compare with professional standards, where you have 10-bit RGB or 12-bit for that matter, like in the digital cinema, there may be a perception that you need better quality. But I guess the folks who came out with HDMI 2.0, their belief is that it's important to increase the clock speed to support the features that 2.0 is supporting, and it's an evolution. The spec is not sitting still. I believe that they are continuously working on providing better performance.